Hello, how are you? I hope you're good. Welcome to this very rapid fire new releases upcoming in 2023 video. I'm gonna be trying to achieve 3 things. First, add this video to the collection of You Recommend series where I asked you for some specific recommendation on Instagram stories, but you guys did a very good job this time for sticking with one answer, so good job. So this will be part of that series, so thank you for your answers. Thing number 2 is actually finding my one true anticipated release. If you're not new here, you will know this thing about me, that every year I pretty much only select one anticipated release. Last year was Upgrade, the year before I think it was The Starless Sea, which did not age well. This year I just don't have one, so this is my also quest of getting your help me find one that I'm really excited about. So I'm hoping that by the end of this video I will have one that will be my holy grail of 2023. We'll see. And then thing number 3 is just to be a little bit more aware of what's coming out in 2023. For the things that I do in life, for my job and also this channel, I am quite embarrassingly bad at keeping up with new releases. Everything gets really jumbled in my brain, so this was really needed. And I have a feeling that there's gonna be, you know, more of you out there who have this issue as well, this problem. This is not by any means a conclusive video. There are so many other releases, but I do have over 40 books here that you guys deemed as the most exciting releases of the year, and I thought it would be a nice way to approach the releases because I know it can be so intimidating. And I also sorted these by the dates that they are supposed to come out, but I did take those dates from Goodreads. So if it was put incorrectly on Goodreads or if it was just like a guesstimate, we're just gonna go blame Goodreads because we're not gonna blame me today, okay? Okay. This is here to decide on his as well. And I also will mention that there's probably 5 books, I'd say, that were, you know, top mentioned books. I will mention those as well in case you're interested in which titles came up the most or the most anticipated. I will not be going into detail of these much at all, especially because a lot of them are sequels, and again because there's over 40 of them. I feel free to check them out, and I'm sorry that this is not more in depth, but I don't want you to be stuck here for an extremely long time either. So let's get going. January is actually a very good month for your answers, at least. A couple that were in that top 5. So we're gonna start with one that was a very common answer, and it was Stolen Air, which is a sequel somewhat, but also a new series, I want to say, at least a book that follows the Folk of the Air trilogy, and we're focusing on Jude's brother, Oak, who is now a little bit older, and that comes out on the 3rd. Another book on the 3rd of January is Song of Silver, Flame Like Night, which is a Chinese folklore YA fantasy with demons. Then on the 10th, we have our top answer, hands down. And it was really surprising to me because I kept hearing very conflicting things about Ninth House. And it's Hellbent, which is the second book to Ninth House, coming out on the 10th. Another book coming out on the same date is Lost in the Moment and Found, which is book 4 in Wayward Children. On the 14th, the fans of Hendrix are going to be very happy with their new campy horror book called How to Sell a Haunted House. On the 17th, the fans of The Sorcery of Thorns will be very happy with the new novella that comes out called Mysteries of Thorn Manor. On the 19th of January, we have this book with a gorgeous cover. I just really love this cover. It's called God Killer, and unsurprisingly, it is about a main character who kills gods until they stumble across one that they cannot kill, and I believe it's a god of white lies, which is pretty cool. And at the very end of the month, on the 31st of January, we are getting another extremely popular response, which is again in that like top 5 for sure, and it's Chain of Thorns, which is a Cassandra Clare book in the series of The Last Hour. You know, unsurprising answer, this one. Another one that came up a couple of times, I wouldn't say it's the top 5, but it came up a couple of times, which is weird because I've never heard of it. So if you like this series, please let me know if you think I would enjoy it. But again, on the 31st of January, we have Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun, which is the 3rd book in the Finlay Donovan kind of like, I'm assuming, cozy mystery thrillers? Let me know if I'm wrong though. Then we have 5 things that came out in February that you guys thought were worth mentioning. The 5th of February, we have Heartstopper 5, although it didn't have a cover yet, so I'm not sure if the date is correct, but mayhaps. We have the sequel to The Woven Kingdom called These Infinite Threads coming out on the 7th of February, Logan's birthday, by Tahara Mafi. On the 14th, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride comes out, which is a gothic adult fantasy described as a darkly romantic fantasy with a lot of secrets. And then we come to another definitely top 5, maybe even more so than Chain of Thorns? I'm not sure. I didn't count, but it was definitely similar. Again, after Hellbent. Hellbent was just the most anticipated by you guys. And it's of course the second book, but not quite the second book, sequel, but not quite the sequel to The Priory of the Orange Tree called A Day of Fallen Night. It comes out on the 28th of February and is very, very anticipated. It's probably going to be another weapon of a book. Then we have a queer horror story called She Is a Haunting, again also coming out on the 28th. And then we move to the next 4 books in March. Another super popular book, The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi. This is a continuation, somewhat a new series in the from the Daevabad author. I believe it's set in the same world, but we're following a different character who's also, I believe, is quite aged up. And the whole series is going to be very piratey. And that's on the 2nd of March. On the 7th of March, we have The Foxglove King, which says a weird cult of pseudo-nuns, a chaotic smuggler, one-eyed monk, and a bi-prince. This one sounds fun and it's coming out on the 24th of March and it's called Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, which again sounds a little bit like a cozy murder mystery. It reminds me a little bit of like Thursday Murder Club vibes, but maybe even more wholesome. Then the 28th of March is the release date for A House with Good Bones, another Kingfisher book, which obviously is gonna be a little horror house story. We have 4 more titles in April. On the 11th we have Some Desperate Glory, which is a queer space opera. The 18th of April is the release date for The Bone Shard War, which is the conclusion to the Drowning Empire series, which I'm actually caught up with. Genuine shock. And then 25th of April is In the Lives of the Puppets, which is the new release by TJ Klune, and this one sounds adorable. I believe there's probably people as well, I don't know, but there's definitely some robots and we 3 living in the same space. So fatherly inventor android, pleasantly sadistic nurse, and a Hoover who's desperate for love and attention. Same day, the 25th of April, fans of Emily Henry are gonna be very happy with the new book called Happy Place, which again are a romance. And then we have 6 titles in May, so May is a good release month. We have the sequel to The Final Strife called The Battle Drum, coming out on the 1st of May. The next 4 all come out on the 16th, which apparently a popular release date. So first we have Transmogrify. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it is a gender non-conforming anthology, so a short story collection, which sounds very exciting. We also have Yellow Phase by the author of Poppy War. This one is a very different book. It's all about social commentary, about publishing, behind the scenes, reviewers, other authors, plagiarism, and what role race plays in publishing. So we also have the sequel to Little Thieves called Painted Devil. Sorry, Painted Devils, plural. And this vampy dark queer romance book called Court of the Undying Seasons. That ends our 16th of May streak, and at the end of May, on the 30th of May, we also have the new book by Martha Wells called Witch King. And it sounds like it's about fighting demons after you die, which really interests me. But I could also be very wrong. But that's what it sounded from the brief synopsis. My birthday month only has 3 titles in there. Sequel to Only a Monster comes out on the 8th called Never a Hero. For those who really enjoyed Love Hypothesis, the author is coming out with a new book called Love Theoretically on the 13th of June. And for those who like Gideon the Ninth vibes, mixed with, I think it said, Game of Thrones White Walkers, we have this dark YA fantasy with ghost fighting, and it's called Bonesmith. Comes out on the 27th of June. And I think as the year goes further, we have fewer and fewer releases, maybe because some of the things are not announced yet, so we don't know about them. But anyway, we're now on to July, and we have 2 things here. The 5th book, the 5th installment in the Blood and Ash series, comes out on the 18th of July, A Soul of Ash and Blood. And then 25th of July is the release date for long-awaited Red Rising Book 6. It's called Lightbringer. Have 3 books at the end of summer. Bring Me Your Midnights is a YA witchy fantasy from the author of Nature of Witches. On the 22nd of August, we have the sequel to Belladonna, which is called Foxglove, not to be confused with the Foxglove King. And then 29th of August, we have the sequel to Iron Widow called Heavenly Tyrant. I think I actually mentioned Thursday Murder Club, but the 4th book in Thursday Murder Club comes out 4th of September. Another one in those like top 5 mentioned answers. Surprisingly to me, but maybe not surprisingly overall, obviously. It's Silverborn, which is the 4th installment in Morgan Crow series, which is a middle grade fantasy, which is cute. And comes out on the 10th of October. And the last one with the exact date, and then I have a couple that are just estimates, is the 13th of December, and that's A Million to One, which is a Titanic heist story, which also actually had quite a couple of votes. Well, answers, not really votes, but interesting. Also one that I've never heard of before. And then I have 4 other things that don't have specific dates or are bigger projects. So another one that was quite a common answer was the Brandon Sanderson Secret Projects, which are these 4 books, his secret project books that literally broke Kickstarter. I have indeed backed it up. I think I went for the audiobook and Kindle version. I'm not too sure now. I'm excited. I think they are set up to come out quarterly, so I think we can expect the first one in January, but I'm not sure if that was confirmed or not. I did not look into it, so if you know, let me know as well. Another quite popular was Threads of Power, which is almost like a continuation of A Darker Shade of Magic with a new cast and some of the old cast, especially from Conjuring of Light, the last book in the series by V. Schwab, and obviously a very popular book, so I understand why there would be why this would be mentioned, but I couldn't find the date. It seemed like it was supposed to come out this year, but didn't, and on Goodreads it was set up as the 1st of January, but because we don't even have the cover yet, I really am skeptical. Like, that's sus. I don't think it'll happen, but it maybe will happen in 2023, so if you didn't know that's a thing that's gonna maybe happen, now you know. Then we have 2 titles that just said fall or, you know, autumn of 2023. So first we have the 4th book in Gideon the Ninth series, actually. It's called Electo the Ninth, and a dark academia where the main character wins a competition and gets to design their favorite author's house, but then a lot of dark stuff starts happening in the house, and it's called A Study in Drowning, also at some point in the autumn 2023. So these were the books that you guys seemed the most excited about in my answers. So let's now check what could actually qualify as my selected one. Okay, so I narrowed it down to some of the books that I could be reasonably excited about. So this one is from the sheer amount of you guys being excited about it. It's contagious. I don't think I can actually select this as my one because I've not read Ninth House, but the amount of you excited about Hellbent really confused me in the best way. So I don't know now if I should be more excited about this, but I think I'm gonna up the book in my list. I don't know. Another possibility is Godkill. It honestly sounds quite interesting. It sounds a bit unique. So I'm quite excited for that. Kingfisher books draw me in. I like the vibes, I like the writing. I think I also have another one in my TBR. If you've not seen my TBR, I will link it down below as well. So I have one of their books to read in December that maybe will solidify a bit more if those books are for me or not. And if they are, this could possibly be it. The Bone Shard War, it sounds the most legit because I am up to date with the series, but whilst I loved the first one, I didn't love the second one as much, so I don't know if I can be as excited as I wish I could. In the Lives of the Puppets is a very strong contender. It just has all the hooks that I like. You guys know how I am about AI and stuff, so this is very, very promising, but because it might be too soft or like too cozy, sometimes it don't hit right. So I don't know. Another very strong contender is Yellowface. I am so intrigued to see what R.F. Kuang has to say about it. I adore their mind. And I do know quite a bit of what happens in the publishing industry, so I'm also very intrigued about that. Another very strong contender to me is The Witch King. I do want to give Murderbot series another go. I read the first one, All Systems Red, and I liked it, but I should have loved it. Like, all the signs showed me that I should have loved it. The premise of Witch King really intrigues me, so it's a very strong one as well. Then we also have Bonesmith. That really piques my interest, even though it is YA. I'm excited for that. Lightbringer I also highlighted because I am excited about it, but I am not as excited because I'm not up to date. Like I still have, like I finished the main trilogy, but I've not started the second era trilogy of Red Rising. And then of course we have the Brandon Sanderson Secret Projects, but I think I'm actually more excited of the Brandon Sanderson read-along I'm doing with my Patreons for Stormlight rather than the Secret Projects, so I don't think I should even make his books, like other books than Stormlight, my most anticipated, because then it will just be too much. It'll be too much of the same author. So it's kind of between In the Lives of the Puppets, Yellowface, or The Witch King for me now.
5 hours later.
I've been sat here for a very stupidly long time, I can't decide. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to go with the fantasy, so it'll either be In the Lives of the Puppets or The Witch King. And now I just, okay, we're down to two. We're down to two. So let me read the synopsis that we have. In the Lives of the Puppets made a genius move of mentioning Wally. And it's very hard not to pick that. However, I just love that everything happens in Witch King, from what I understand, after being murdered. And that draws me, and I think that's gonna be my answer, Witch King. So officially, my anticipated read of the year is Witch King by Martha Wells, an author I read less than TJ Klune, but still an author I really want to give another go. And maybe this is gonna be the year that I retry Murderbot, because I just feel like I just read it at the wrong time, because it really should be for me. So anyway, I hope this was enjoyable. I hope this was useful. Again, remember to leave anything that you think is missing from this list and it should be crucial down in the comments below. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay awesome, stay kind, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!